Hello and welcome to Eye on Oakland. I'm Chuck Moss, your host. We have a great show today. Well, we always got great shows, but we're going to have a particularly good one here. We have George Dilgard, who is a former city commissioner and former mayor. How many times were you mayor?
Once.
Once?
Once was enough.
Yeah, but you guys were, your years at the city commission were the dream team, basically. You guys worked really well together, and good time for the city. But not to say now isn't, but you guys were an especially good time for the city. So George Dilgard, and board member and actually secretary of Next. And what is Next?
Next provides senior services for Birmingham and surrounding communities. So we also have member communities of Beverly Hills, Bingham Farms, and Franklin. And then on top of that, we have about 50 different communities that have memberships at Next, including Bloomfield Township. We have over 200 members at Next that live in Bloomfield Township.
You do, even though Bloomfield Township has Bloomfield Seniors, which is a very good program.
Yes. Yeah. So we have very good programs, and people like the activities we have planned there.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Big membership.
You know, I think I might be a member too, unless I've let it lapse because it was too cheap to pay the bills. But they're it's cheap. By the way, it's a bargain. How much is it to buy a membership at Next?
Well, an individual, Birmingham is only $55 a year, and for a family, it's $70 for a Birmingham resident, and then it's a little higher for the member community or outside of the member communities. Say like Bloomfield Township, it costs you all of $90 for a family.
$90. By family, of course, it's seniors.
Two or
it's
more.
Basically husband and wife. Yeah,
you got it.
I should do that because you've got a lot of good speakers. It's a good bunch. So my question is, the big deal, of course, is the proposed senior center at the Y. What's going on with that?
Well, it's been a evolving situation, and a couple things I'd like to mention first off. Today is January 27th.
Okay, this is because this show is probably this isn't live. It's going to appear after it's happened. So, a package is going to be presented to the city commission.
Yeah, tonight, Monday night, and so a couple of things. One, it's been in the mix for a long time. So there's going to be the city manager is going to present draft agreements with the Y and Next for the building. So there'll be some financial impacts there to be discussed publicly. And also there'll be financial impacts of neighboring communities, how much they contribute today. So that would, with this big bond issue coming up, to make everyone somewhat whole, there'll be increases for like Beverly Hills residents, things like that. Okay,
now just to recap, the Birmingham YMCA, which the Birmingham Family YMCA, is on Lincoln Road. It's a typical baby boom era YMCA. The city has bought it and intends to do something with it. What's the story with that?
Yeah, let's back up. Back in July of 23, seems a long time ago,
the
city purchased from the Y the property on 400 Lincoln for $2 million. Included in that purchase price, Next contributed $500,000 towards that $2 million. And the Y, over the next several years, was going to move to Royal Oak, a new facility in Royal Oak. So we would do, at the time, the agreement was the thought process that was going to be a renovation of this very old building. I never agreed with that part of it, but that's what the city signed up for initially. And the Y was going to then, over a number of years, move to Royal Oak. So then what happened is we hired an architect, NOR is the name of the architectural firm, to do a feasibility study of the building.
Okay.
This building goes back to the 1960s, 3 additions.
60s?
1960, yeah.
I thought it went back to the 50s.
Yeah, I think it's early 60s.
Wow.
And 3 additions during that time, and the maze of the Y.
I do. Full disclosure is that I taught swimming there for 22 years, and most of those as a volunteer. So I know the Y pretty well.
And so we hired this firm, did a feasibility study for several months, and we hired the firm in February of the last year, spent 2-3 months, did a lot of analysis, public input, et cetera, and decided, hey, it's a demo and need to build new. So
Blow the building, start fresh.
yeah, so July of '24, the city commission made that decision. They voted it had to be a demolition and a new building. So that was a significant time period in there. Also, I should back up. We didn't hire, but we appointed an ad hoc committee early in this process, and very talented individuals, people in a contractor, planning board members.
Of Birmingham citizens.
Planning board, Parks and Rec. There are about 7 or 8 members, and they've been really involved and contributed a lot in advising the city commission all along throughout this process.
The idea is to basically, okay, so the idea was for NEXT, which is the Birmingham Senior, it's like Bloomfield Seniors, it's called NEXT. It used to called, before it was the Birmingham Senior Advisory, something?
It was called BASC, and actually it started back in 1978.
Really?
Yeah, and we've been at Midvale, and I should mention that Birmingham Public Schools has been very generous over the last number of years, and we have been at Midvale, which is a former elementary school, since 1997.
It's 97. Yeah, and Midvale is look, my age. It's a typical baby boomer elementary school built during the baby boom. It's got the little drinking fountains that are like at knee high, and you go into the gymnasium, the fold down tables. This is just like a little stage. It's a beautiful thing. It takes me back to Wilson School in Middletown, Ohio. So,
but one of the key points is that Birmingham Public Schools would like to reutilize that property.
They want it back.
They want it back, and they would like NEXT to leave the building by May of 27.
May of 27.
May of 27.
Well, that gives you some time.
And, well, it'll be here shortly, and so that's been the timeline that we've been really pushing for. Actually, BPS extended by 11 months. Originally, they wanted us out June of 26.
Yeah, next year.
And so
right.
just no way we could make
So you're
it.
under the gun to try and get something completely different. And building, so anyways, the bottom line is you're trying to figuring out what to do with the Y and the Y site. The Y is leaving because the Y is going to have a new facility in Royal Oak.
That was the plan, Chuck, but
What happened to the Y?
okay, things didn't work out for the Y in Royal Oak. And then early in the process last year, they came to the city and said, hey, we want to stay in Birmingham. So that has changed the dynamics of this project.
Okay, so in other words, it's like the dominoes. The one doesn't happen, so the other doesn't happen, so the other doesn't happen. So now the Y wants to stay in Birmingham, having sold their building and said they're leaving. So now what?
Yeah, so there have been a lot of negotiations back and forth. And then there was a significant meeting in September of last year with the city commission. Mm-hmm. And the city manager brought forth 2 options. One would be that it'd be a 2-phase process, and the Y is limited on its capital means right now and has been for a number of years. And so the idea was, okay, the city builds a significant part of the building, but the pool and the fitness center come later, so that part gets built, and then the Y was thinking, oh, we're going to go out 3-year to 5-year time period and fundraise for like $11 million for their portion of the building.
Okay, so a 2-phase solution.
Yes.
Not a 2-faced solution. I had enough of those in Lansing.
Anyway, so that was one option. The other option the city manager proposed was, let's build a smaller building for Next and the community with no swimming pool.
No swimming pool. I got to tell you.
So that was presented to the City Commission September 9th. Remember the night well. The commissioners wanted a third option.
No, who
And
doesn't?
And the proposal, through a long discussion that night, was the city would build an all-inclusive building, including the Y, including a fitness center, including a pool,
Including a pool.
which was never envisioned when we purchased the building back in June of.
Okay, so you're getting some
23.
serious mission creep here.
Yes, for sure.
And meanwhile, the clock is ticking on both the Y and Next, because Next has to be out of there because the Board of Education wants its building back. Okay, well, I can see the challenges here. Now, my question is that Midvale is leaving, and so what the Y wants the Y is now returning, as it will, and you got to get something done here, because if you don't, the Y will be happy there, but you guys won't be. So what is the downside to just keeping the building as it is for both the Y and the seniors? No pickleball? You got to have pickleball.
Well,
Everybody
there's a
has
gym,
pickleball.
but it only does two. Like, for example, with the new building, it's going to have 3 pickleball courts.
3?
Yes.
Oh
3.
my goodness! There'll be like knife fights to try to get on them.
Yeah. We had thought about 4, and it could eventually be modified and go to increase the size of the building somewhat to add a 4th pickleball. Big demand for that.
No kidding. Is there a big demand for it?
Yeah.
I thought about pickleball. My problem is I'm not a dry land sports guy. You give me a pool, I love it, but not that. I should try it though. Now, so the city commission is now. We're going to get into, because we're going to be taking a break here in a couple of minutes, and we'll get into the proposal the city commission is looking at. But to support the entire project, you're going to need a millage.
Yes, a bond will go to the public. Originally, the plan was hopefully for a May vote, but there've just been so many details to work out, it just wasn't feasible at this point. So now we're looking at best case August and very likely a November vote for this bond issue. It's going to be, the current thinking is going to be, even after downsizing, we went through a lot of iterations on the size of the building. It's going to be 49,000 square feet, including a pool.
What is it at now? I don't know. I mean, just to get me an idea.
Roughly, the current Y is about 45,000 square feet.
Okay, so it'll
total.
be a little bit bigger, 49,000. Well, a lot bigger.
Yeah. Footprint with the Y there, ideally for Next, it would have been a 1-story building.
Yeah.
But with the Y included, 2 stories is the way it will have to go. The footprint will be roughly about the same as it is today. And then we get, of course, into some parking issues.
There are parking issues. There are always parking issues, let me tell you. We're gonna take a break here, and then we're gonna come back talking with George Dilgard, former city commissioner, former mayor, and a secretary and board member of Next, which is the Birmingham Senior Center. On what's going on with the new senior center at the location of the Y on Lincoln Road. I'm Chuck Moss, your host, and don't go away. We'll be right back here on Eye on Oakland.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Hello, welcome back to Eye on Oakland. I'm Chuck Moss, your host. We're talking to George Dilgard, a member of the famed Dream Team of City Commissioners and Birmingham Mayor, and now Secretary on the board of NEXT, the Birmingham Senior Organization. And what we're talking about is what's going on with the proposed senior center in Birmingham at Lincoln Road, at the site of, I would say, the old site of the Y, but it is still kind of the Y now. And it's not just important for Birmingham, because it's important for all the member communities, including Bloomfield Township, which has a fabulous senior center and Bloomfield Seniors. But Birmingham would be nice to try to get up to the level of Bloomfield Seniors, or maybe even the OPC if we're lucky. But nonetheless, what is going on? I understand that we need a clarification on what the name of the project is.
Yes, we've been using the name Next Senior. Actually, we've been using the name Senior Recreation Center. And for clarification and broaden the appeal, the commission's going to be presented with a name from the ad hoc committee, and they're recommending that it's Birmingham Senior and Community Center.
Senior and Community Center.
Yes.
Well, if you're...
So broadens it out, community, adding that title in there.
And it will not be called the Birmingham Family YMCA anymore.
No.
Well, city owns it now. I mean, it is a city property, right?
Yeah,
Belongs-
city, and it'll be a couple of tenants in there. One would be Next, one would be the Y.
Now, question, is Next an independent organization, or is it essentially a branch of the city like the PSD, or is it independent like the community house?
It's independent, so 501c. Yeah. And not associated. We do get some funding from other communities besides Birmingham, contributes to our operating expenses
Okay.
and things like that,
Yeah, yeah.
along with Beverly, Bingham, and Franklin to a lesser degree.
It isn't just Birmingham. It's we used to call them the Killer Bees: Bingham, Beverly, Bloomfield, Bloomfield Township. Yeah. So it's and Franklin, of course, always Franklin. It's bigger than it looks, which is a good thing. Now, I think this is a long past due time to happen, but I like the idea of keeping some Y, because not only am I 71, but I have a grandson that's a year and a half old, so it's nice to have both there. So what is the status? Is there a plan? Is there a set of drawings, or just a concept? Where is it at?
We hired Newman Smith, which is a very good architectural firm. We hired them just in December, and they were coming up with getting public input, user input, and just recently they've come up with some programming space needs for both Next and Y, how it would fit in this building. And it's been worked out. So, for example, this building is going to have a large gym, ability to have up to 3 pickleball courts, have a 4-lane swimming pool, a fitness center.
4 lanes.
4 lanes.
Current one is like 6, isn't it?
It's 4. You should know, Chuck. It's only 4.
It's only
now.
4. It seemed longer. That's because they put the lane lines down the middle.
Yeah. So then also, so you're going to have then multi-use rooms, 6 multi-use rooms that'll be shared between Next and the Y, depending on programming. For example, Next has an amazing assortment of programs. In 1 month, we have 230 different programs going on at Next, from fitness, yoga, to pottery classes, arts, painting. And then we have an excellent lecture series.
You've got great speakers, I know that.
Every Thursday night at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Amazing speakers. And cards and bridge, pinochle, all those games.
Euchre?
Oh yeah, euchre. But on Monday, you'll have like 40, 50 people playing bridge at Next.
I never learned bridge. I was never smart enough, but I could play euchre. I mean, am I a Michigander? If I'm a Michigander, you got to learn to play euchre. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, so the timeline is May of 2027. You guys got to be out.
Yeah, so if you just back it off, construction 12 to 15 months, so we're at a crunch time. So actually, if this vote gets delayed until November, it's going to be very difficult to make that move-in date of May of 27.
And the financials, let's see, there's the proposal heading to the city commission. The financials are there. It all depends on the millage, whether it passes or it does not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not to be putting pressure on anyone, but if the millage does not happen, then the building doesn't get built, and the YMCA is in trouble too. I mean, I don't know if they can limp along in their current Royal Oak place. Next, on the other hand, is facing a hard deadline. So it's sort of like,
It's very critical to pass the bond this year. Critical.
Yes.
Critical. And the fallback, which I think is very suboptimal, would be to somehow patch together the current Y building and make it somewhat usable for next until eventually we would go back for a bond ask again. That's how it happened. That's the way it happened in Bluefield Township, if you'll recall.
That's the way it happened in Birmingham with the library. You shall be talking to Doug Koshek about how they had to back it off and bring it along. And just editorial comment. I was in the library for the first time in quite a while, and it really looks fabulous, actually.
Don't you like that lobby and the openness there?
I love the lobby. I love it. I mean,
the gathering spot there.
that Coco Siewert, who did call it the goiter on the library, the Burkett's edition.
But that's one of the nice things about the
It softens
plan for this new building is we currently have a very warm and inviting lobby at Midvale.
Yeah.
And a lot of people play cards in the lobby, and that's going to be carried over into the new building. It's going to be about 1,200 square feet of lobby space for separate entrance for next members.
Uh-huh.
And then keep that good feel.
Then at the Y, you can have all the little kids come in and hustle your pickleball, I can imagine, I've seen people playing pickleball. I mean, I went over to Troy with my daughter and grandson over to their pool, and I'm looking at it. I swear, it's like Andre Agassi. These people are scary. They're whack, 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 whack. So I don't know. I mean, it's daunting for me. But yeah, I think this is a wonderful, wonderful idea. Is there the process? I know you have an ad hoc committee. Are you letting citizens in on some of it? I do know. I know about these things with charrettes, where you bring all the citizens in. Anybody who wants to come up with any ideas, and then you end up with whatever you end up with. Is there any plan to do anything like that and involve the citizens really, really deeply in it?
Well, we've already done several of those earlier last year.
You have?
We had a public meeting.
Shows what I know.
I think about 200 people attended last summer a public meeting at the YMCA, and then we also had another follow-up meeting at Next, and again, a couple hundred people attended.
That's a good.
And so the presentations were made as far as the current situation, what the desires are, and so there's a lot of public discussion. And I should mention that coming up on February 10th, there's going to be a visioning session that at the City Commission, everyone in the public's invited to come down to City Hall. So it starts at 5:30 Monday, February 10th. It's going to be a visioning session, and our architects, Newman Smith, will present the exterior look, some ideas on how the building will look, how it'll fit on the site plan design, things like that.
Is there a website that will have information like that, like maybe a Next website? You go there, that'll have some of it?
Yeah, and the city all along throughout this process has had a lot of information. You just click on, it actually pops up when you go onto the website.
You go to the Birmingham City website, and it'll be there. And Birmingham Gov. You just Google Birmingham City,
Yeah.
Birmingham MI City. You don't want to go to Alabama. So believe me, I've done that often enough. So what you do that is, okay. So people who are seeing this and want to get information can do it that way. Great. Now the timeline. Let us assume, for the sake of argument, that you do have I prefer November for money votes, but let's say you do it in August, and it passes. What then? Because let's say August of 25, to get something done in May of 20, that's almost a year and a half to get it all done.
Yeah, so then you move into, and so what we're going to have, it's called schematic design, and that's going to be done over the next few months before the bond proposal. So an idea of what the interior is going to look like, the outside exactly, but in not fine detail. And that'll be done by Newman Smith, the architects.
All right.
And then moving on from there, once the bond passes, and we've already put out a request for a proposal for a construction manager, and they're going to actually come on board here in the next month or so and give us some estimated, pretty fine detail on what the costs are going to be. So right now the estimate is going to be a $32 million building, but maybe they come in and they can fine-tune it down to a lesser number.
If they can do that, believe me, because there's a little I word called inflation with stuff going up. So, but
So the whole team will be in place with that construction manager. So we have the architect, the construction manager, and then come up with design of the building, construction drawings.
then you'll be ready to you
And
get
then,
the
then we,
millage.
and then we go out to bid, and then, like I mentioned, about a 12-month building process.
Well, good. As long as trouble doesn't develop, but who can tell? I think that that's a year. I mean, they built the Empire State Building in a year.
I remember that. Yeah,
You remember?
I did a tour
You're
of
older
the
than you
building, and
look.
I was amazed when I did a tour of that building a number of years ago, and that's one of the things that really stuck out to me. 7 million bricks.
Well, you remember? We took the tour, and I didn't. I just remember that, but it's pretty impressive. A year to build. So when they say they can't do it, yeah, they can. Now, it's a big bond issue that they're going to up with.
And I think one of the things I've been really stressing when I've commented at public meetings, when you break that number down by household, we're really just talking about $200 per household a year.
A year.
So when you break that number down, there are over 8,000 households in Birmingham. And when you break that down over a 20-year bond, $200, that's a great value for the city.
It is, and if
Gonna
there
get-
is a Y component to it, it means it isn't just seniors. It is also
Total community,
families.
all ages.
Total community. I like that. That's a great phrase. Total community. I'm taking stands myself, pro or con, but obviously having it appeal to both a 71-year-old guy with a year-and-a-half-old grandson.
Yeah, grandsons or granddaughters, huh?
Granddaughter, too. I don't have a granddaughter, but then I didn't have sons, I had daughters, so it's all good. Now, just real quick before we get in, has anybody talked with OPC or Bloomfield Seniors about how they do stuff, or just...
Yeah, this has been a long-term project or ideal for the city, and so over a number of years, the city commissioners have visited OPC and other places. So, and OPC and I personally have been there and talked to Renee Courtwright, the
Renee
director.
Courtwright, who's the director, he used to work at Next.
Right, and so they a great organization, and they really know how to run their operations. And there's a lot to learn.
Well, the OPC...
Once we build, we'll even... coordinate
OPC
with
is
them.
the platinum standard for sure. Bloomfield Township is only the gold standard, so there you go.
Yeah, they have 4 pickleball courts.
Pickleball is it. It is. All right. Well, we're going to leave it here. We'll find out the city commission buys what goes on. We'll talk more as the millage vote gets closer. But we're talking to George Dilgard, former city commissioner, former mayor, now secretary of the board of Next. I'm Chuck Moss, and thank you for joining us here on Eye on Oakland.